Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo estás? How you all doing? Let me turn this music down. A lot of lighting. Yeah. One. There's 7, not 6, Lulu. Yeah, crazy, right? You need a lot of light for camera. Far more than you would think. Hope everyone's doing good. It's Thursday, folks. Here we are. Sorry, the music just died. Let's do something about that. All right. Dramatic. Let's do this. Why have I picked today's poses? Each one, I think, has a strong rhythmical element to it. It's a lot of curve against curve, like large ideas, right? Line of actions. And I'm in a line of actiony kind of mood. So that's why we're going to do it. All right. Now, timer. I will have to. Sorry, I'm just having a real quick look at the chat. Cool. All right, let's do this. First pose. I think I'm, the usual amount of time. It is hot in here today. It's going to be one of those days. All right, I think I'm going to go for a round of 15, just to kind of get the ball rolling, because there we go. After all my talk last week, I have not drawn since the last stream. So, oh, that's a hard sell. All right, let's try something else. Not a good start. All right, there we go. That was one of those rogue 6Bs. Yeah. Okay. Rib cage. That'll do. Manubrium clavicle. Can really, I don't know if I'm necessarily exaggerating. There's a lot of rhythm already in this pose, but don't be afraid to, be bold with your rhythm at this stage in the drawing. These things have a tendency to quieten down as the drawing progresses. This leg coming towards us, something like so. Our pectoral. Now, why does my music keep stopping? It's very strange. Sorry, folks. I just need to deal with this because I can't draw without music. All right, this should work. It's that new music service. I'm still not too familiar with it. Okay, pectoral. The breast sitting there and the thinning triangular section in this region here where the pectoral thins out, we can see the rib cage. trapezius. Navel. I'm tilting ever so slightly there. It's a little bit more straight on in the reference. I like finding topography in this area when it's straight on. Lose that opportunity just a little bit. I think we can cheat it. Okay, oblique is sitting in there. Widest part of the hip sitting right here. Coming up, tip of the aces here, so we know that tensor fasciolate is coming down this way. Rectus femoris. Knee. Okay, oblique on this side. Runs straight into the gluteus medius, really the very incredibly soft transition. There is one there, and I'm going to accentuate it just ever so slightly in there, but it's splitting hairs. Something like so. The way her rib cage and her tummy are rotated in opposite directions shows the center line. Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you're going to notice with a lot of these, Lulu, a lot of these poses today, were with similar kind of nice little interesting little things going on. Okay, pectoral. Hello everyone that's joining. You're very welcome. All right, let's see. So once again, just coming back to this area here, as I've mentioned before, I do love to get a sense of this whole area of the deltoid, even though we can't necessarily see it. It really is very useful. Bicep. Coming up this way. And coming across the form. And we've got the deltoid pushing out here. Something like that. We can just rib cage, and then the latissimus sitting in there. Okay. Latissimus. deltoid. Sitting in there. Bicep. All right, I'm going to get into some shadow work just in a second here. Let's find some core shadow. Just adding a little bit of half tone here and there too. And I'm actually going to, let's see. No, scrap that. Let's continue with our separation of what is in light and what is not. So people asking about Penny. Penny's in the other room. Penny might make an appearance. Penny's my dog. A new addition to the family. She's only just 6 months old. And she's a character. Okay. All right. Let's just do a bit of blending, and I think I might call it for this one. I'm as shocked as anyone else that I'm kind of on time. I said 15. It's going to be 15. Yeah, okay. I think that will, it's a little bit of little bit of muddiness around. Yeah, it's a really subtle halftone, not helping. You know what, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Okay, that's a very, but you know, while I'm on the subject, I've got to say, no, you see, I've messed that up. I'm not happy with that. Because it's not what we're seeing in the light. You see, for those of you who have the reference, the half tone in this area is insanely subtle. And I normally cheat that. And I kind of, you see, I didn't commit to the cheat, and now I'm paying for that. Let's see if I can fix it real quickly. Because there is really no halftone in this area here. But in my experience, if you don't mirror to some degree what's going on this side, even though the light source is coming from here and this is all in light, you need this shape. If you do what we see in the reference, which is basically you bring the tone down here, it looks weird for some reason. And I've experienced this probably, frankly, hundreds of times at this point. Always the same issue. You have to cheat it. And it's still not 100% right. It's a bit better. All right, good enough. It's a warm-up drawing. I'm not going to get too upset about it. Okay, let's move on. My face lights up when I ask about Penny, Miss Penny. I am madly in love with that dog. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think the wife is a little disgruntled about how besotted I am with that animal. Honestly, they're lifesavers. Well, what do I mean by that? You know, they bring so much. She's brought so much energy to the house. It's not even funny. Just gorgeous. Okay. Is it a cheat or is it a different path to more clear representation? Well, it's really what it is it's drawing from, it's pulling from the imagination, isn't it? There's like, here she is. Come here. Come up here. Come on. Come on up. So people want to see you. Just real quick. Oh. Okay. Look over this way. Good girl. Look over there. There you go. Oh yes. Did you finish your ear? Was that tasty? Awesome. Good girl. Okay, let's do the next pose. This was the trouble pencil, right? Yeah. All right, let's put that to one side. Okay, yeah, maybe drawing from the imagination isn't the right way. It's just about conceptual drawing, right? That's like seeing things conceptually, trying to just model form rather than necessarily being 100% faithful to what you see. and we've discussed this all the time, and something I proselytize all the time, which is draw not only what you see, but what you know, right? And so if we can, if we need to model form that is maybe not represented in the image or in the model in front of us because the light is burning out the tone, half tones, whatever, then we add them to help describe form. Golden, she is what's called a golden door, Jim. So her father was a golden retriever, and her mum is a fox red Labrador. I don't think she's going to be long-haired like a golden retriever, you know. Anyway, next pose. I think we can probably get away with like a 15-ish on this one too, because it's a back pose and it's a quiet enough pose. Let's aim for that. And once again, lovely rhythmical lines. This is a bit more subtle than the last one. We've got our spine coming down this way. I'm just going to find the large idea here. So we can't see it, her arm is from directly in front of it, but we know the sacrum is about here, right? Iliac crest is doing something like that. Once again, hard to see because her arm is there, but we really need to draw that even though we can't see it, so we can lock everything together. You have a 3-year-old golden, Jim, awesome. They're just, yeah, what can you say? Amazing dogs, huh? All right, so yeah, iliac crest is about here. We can see that oblique sitting there. We know our rib cage is sitting about here, right? Scapula sitting here, coming up, head of the humerus, which is about here, and then this arm going back this way, elbows about here, and this hand, this forearm coming down. Hand sitting about here. Something like that. Brachioradialis coming down this way. Tricep. Something like that. Trapezius coming up this way and coming down, obviously coming from the occipital ridge back here. Trapezius coming down this way. The scapula on this side is, you know, this one it's a little bit more compressed, sitting in this region here. On this side it's a little bit more, let's say, in a relaxed position, sitting about here. And then this arm coming down this way and going forwards. Look how flat that deltoid is, really interesting. The whole kind of journey along here. Coming down to the elbow there. Forearm. And then here, obviously we know pectorals coming, attaching up at the clavicle, And we can see that kind of reveal itself here with the breast sitting there. I actually think I might need to pull this down just a little bit, down to about there. That'll actually work lovely. Okay, good. And then this leg coming this way. Oh, it's going off camera. And she's actually sitting on a box. We should really represent that. Or the cloth that's on top of it, sitting here, and this box is coming down this way. Probably sitting about something like this, if we could see it. Obviously there's this drapery that's on the top. Something like that. All right, let's keep going here. Boom. Okay, I think I'm gonna tie some stuff down. I'm gonna start right here. It's good to get this arm kind of seal the deal on it, just because it's central to the form, and it's just going to help tie in measurement for other things. And we will try our best to accentuate rhythmical ideas that we've hopefully already established. That might be too much, but I can always come back and fix it if need be. That should be okay. Once again, I'm kind of exaggerating things a little bit, but I think it will calm down as I go. Pull this in quite a bit. To about there. Just adjusting slightly here as well. This pectoral and this breast things need to be pushed a little bit more. And lost a little bit of volume there. Not happy with that at all. Okay, it is what it is. Let's keep going. You know, I need playlists. I don't know where they are. This music is too much like the last thing. This will teach me for not opening this music app since the last stream. I really should have done some exploration with it. Cast shadow coming up this way, which actually is a lovely opportunity to use it to help describe the anatomy too, so you can kind of, you know, you get a bit of freebies for your trouble. Okay, spine. Sit in there. This is another one of those kind of conceptual light things where this is all kind of blown out, but we're going to add a little bit of tone in here because it will help describe form. Stephen, I just saw your message about the reference. If you go to my channel page and you go to the community tab, you will find a link. I think it's under, if you go down the messages, I think it's the June link, but it's June and July, so you'll find it there. I should really have made that more clear. I made a change this month. Apologies for that. See perks next to the channel icon. There you go. Thank you, Shiroko. Okay. Alright, I need to do something just really quickly about this music, because we really need some. Explore music. Let's see what's going on here. This is not really the way I wanted to do it. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Oh, this is all going to be. Stop. It's a tough go with the music. All right, what's the time? Oof, 18 minutes. Yikes. All right, well, I think we're going to call it now. Yeah, okay. Good enough. Not really good enough, but it's gonna have to be good enough. Okay, next pose. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to do it on the TV, on the Roku, would be my guess, Stephen. Because you need internet access, because the images are hosted on my website. They're not hosted on YouTube. So there is a link, as I said, in the community chat or in the perks that will take you there, to the reference on my website. So probably to pull up the reference on your phone would make the most sense in that case. Okay, we've got a long landscape situation for the next one. Oh, I need to stop the clock. Have a quick sip of tea. Pretty sure I've seen, there's a number of people that watch, that draw along to the stream that kind of have the reference on a phone or something, and then they watch the stream on a different device, you know. Seems to be a popular way of doing things. All right. Pity about that last pose, just not feeling it. It's a shame. We move on. Once again, a lot of rhythmical, long rhythmical ideas. It's a classic pose. We've done this type of pose many times before, several times. Let's really lean into the whole rhythm of this. It's almost, yes, just, I don't know how you would even explain it. Then you can see the way that this leg really just, boom, comes off this long rhythmical line here. Obviously we have the hips that push out here. We'll add all that stuff. And this leg's going away from us and kind of coming back towards us. I should have drawn this smaller. Shoot, you know what, guys, sorry, I'm going to draw this smaller because we really need the foot. We need the whole 9 yards. Because it really kind of, the foot in this case, to me it feels like, okay, that is the punctuation of the rhythmical idea, right? So it deserves to be in the spotlight. So we're just drawing a little bit smaller, and then we'll get it all on. See, and then that foot, the heel is about there. Okay, better. Worth restarting. Okay, I think it's time to let's lock, because it feels like this region in here is the star of the show. So let's get to know it. So sacrum, iliac crest, it's going to be sitting in there. You've got those long lumbar muscles snaking up the form there. So the iliac crest is here, which is obviously creating this lovely transition where we go. Gonna get this effect. And then into the rib cage, which is sitting around here. Give or take. Scapula is about here. And on this side, here. Once again, can't see it, but we know the occipital ridge is going to be up here, trapezius coming down this way, and this way, something like that. This arm hiding around the front of the form there. And then this leg going away from us. So, sitting in here. Elbow, about here. be some pushing and pulling to be done there, but once again, in the interest of just getting something down. This is about here. Drawn off the top now. Need things. This drawing has fallen apart. I need to think what to do. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'll tie down as I go. I think I can make it work. Hard to believe, I know, but famous last words. Yeah, I'll fix it. All right, let's see if we can fix this side now. Let's start with the oblique. You left-handed guys amaze me. You know, that reminds me. Well, I did. It was short-lived, wasn't it? The right-hand challenge, where I would do the last pose with my right hand. I think it lasted about 3 streams. It was not. Well, to say it wasn't successful is putting it very kindly. All right, now let's see. Why is the bot spamming away? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Do you want me to beat him up? Restream bot. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Do you want me to beat him up? Sorry. Yeah, we got YouTube going. That's probably what you're, where the confusion is. I swear, Twitch is like no man's land, unfortunately. I started streaming on Twitch kind of late into the game, and the Twitch gods are not pleased. There is really little to no presence on Twitch, which is a shame, because I think there's probably an audience there, or maybe not. I just don't think that I don't think Twitch are pushing it at all. It's a shame. Twitch art is completely hijacked by LGBT furry anime stuff. Yeah, I maybe it could just be it's a different demographic. Oh well. Hopefully it appealed to someone. Sorry, it's time to do the music. Oh, okay, what is going on? Wow. That's not good. Sorry about that. That was hard to listen to. All right. Damn. Let's just do a little bit of colouring in so we can see what we need to push. Suggest the fabric, just a tiny bit. All right. What I like about Twitch is the chat system. It's way better than here. Everything else I don't like. Is the chat better, yeah? Okay, this music is diabolical. We may be going back to Epidemic Sound, guys. Like, why don't they have playlists? I don't get it. Sorry about this. This is... It's fine. It's fine. I feel like all I do is complain. What's that, 20 minutes? I think that's probably a good place to call it. Okay. Six watt. I kind of saved it, right? Like, kinda. Like it was going in a pretty dark direction. So once again, I have no excuse, because this is supposedly something I do. But once again, I am a victim of not practicing enough. I say victim, only myself to blame. It's hardly, you know, it's not exactly not my fault. Six is the number of carbon. Yeah, well, these are 6B. I tend to stick with 6. If you spend every waking moment drawing, there'd be no rust, but you know, saving some time for actually living one's life is perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I'm spending a little too much time living my life and not drawing. I'm trying to get other things in the works though. One thing coming very, very shortly will be prints will be available of some of pieces that apparently people appreciate. So, and they'll be at a much lower price point than the original drawings that are available on Etsy. So that's something I'm in the process of getting ready for those that are interested. Okay, next pose. Let's do this. Ever tried the same model but in different styles? Maybe try it a la Muka. Mark, I have. Well, you know what, here's the thing with styles, is a tricky one. But I will say, I'm a big fan of pushing proportions. And I've given this tip before, but I'm just in the interest of giving it again. Something you guys can play around with, have some fun with, right? So if we think upper and lower torso, and let's just go standard, right? Something like this. Right? That's very, very roughly our standard proportions, right? Something like that. The idea being, why does that drawing look so weird? Yeah, okay. The idea being, just take that and start playing with the proportions of these boxes. So maybe with the rib cage, you do one where this box is really narrow, but then maybe the hips come out like so, right? And maybe you make the legs even longer, right? Something like that. Right? So you can start to push and pull proportions. Maybe it'll be a case of these boxes will be short and wide, and maybe the legs will be really short. right? This type of thing. And you can play around with proportions just by manipulating like these two really, and then the length of legs. You can really play around and push and pull with your proportions. For those of you who are doing character design and that type of thing, this is a very standard kind of tool for some basic character design kind of concepts. But you can really manipulate the hell out of the proportions just by changing the relationships. That's why it's so nice working with this idea of the upper and the lower torso, thinking of them kind of as boxes in this way, because it's easy to visualize then the manipulation of these two shapes, right? And you could really go extreme, like rib cage, hips, legs, right? Feet. Like, you could have some fun, and you could put a little square head. Now you're getting into like Lego Man territory, but you get the idea. So when I'm drawing from imagination, I'll really push this concept, and just see. And here's the trick. How far can you go before it breaks? Right? That's really the answer. Because there is a breaking point. There is a point where, as absurd as this is, you get to a point where it's like, okay, you've broken the idea, right? Like, these are teetering on the edge, but did you study Glenn Vilppu or Steve Houston? Asks, do you want me to beat him up? No, it's funny you should say those two. I studied with Carl Ganas at the American Animation Institute in LA when I was working in animation there. Studied on and off there for years. And obviously these are concepts that Glenn teaches. I think Steve too, right, to some extent. I haven't studied any of Steve's stuff, but I know Glenn's stuff. I have Glenn's book, and Glenn and Carl taught in the same classroom, right? And so Glenn's stuff would be up on the walls and his demos and that. So I got a pretty good sense that himself and Carl were very much on the same page. It's all the same school of drawing, right? Steve Houston, Stan Propenko, Glenn, Carl. So yeah, but also that style, this approach and this style of drawing throughout is really prevalent throughout the whole of the animation industry, especially in LA. I think I've heard it referred to as kind of like the American or the Californian Renaissance style or something like that. Yeah, anyway. Jeffrey, I strongly encourage you to try that exercise. Internalize it. It's a great way, it's a great kind of leaping off point for actually drawing from imagination or from memory. It's a very user-friendly one because there's no right or wrong, right? Like, you're just pushing. You're pushing shapes. Carl Ganas, that's right, Jim. Yeah, I studied with Carl on and off. Very much on and off. I'd go for spates. Here's the thing. There'd be times where you'd be in between jobs in animation working in LA. So I used to try and make the most of those times, and I'd go to figure drawing at the Animation Union because it was very reasonably priced, and obviously the instructors are excellent. Jeff Watts, exactly. Yeah, same, once again, same school, Or there's others too that we haven't mentioned that certainly would deserve a mention, but you get the idea. Once again, we're going with these nice rhythmical poses. When I got a pose like this where the legs are, she's kneeling, kind of coming towards us. See the way, even though this is two legs, I'm treating this leg section kind of as a single idea first, because they're together. Then I can subdivide and iliac crest. Oh, the rib cage is going to be sitting in here. And you know, it should be mentioned that there was also, before most of those guys, there was Walt Stanchfield. And he was doing some very interesting work and education in the same, with the same kind of industry. And I think he gets a little bit forgotten in the conversation. But if you've ever seen Walt Stanchfield's books, based on his lectures, you'd see how very influential he was on all of those people. I don't know why this music thing just stops. Doesn't like to autoplay like the Epidemic sound. Sorry. Stanchfield is my favourite. His notes are incredible. Yeah, so for those who don't know about Walt Stanchfield, he gave a series of lectures, I want to say in the 70s. And those notes were compiled, because they were gold. They were compiled by a lot of his students, and people have made them available, and they've really tried to keep them in the spirit of the way that he presented the material. And I think, you know, you can go on Amazon, if you type in Walt Stanchfield, you'll see volumes 1 and 2 and that. But he had a great way of kind of getting his point across, communicating, and yeah. Animation work is so much more difficult than it looks. Yeah, it's a lot. Cali Renaissance style, yeah. No, it's very much referred to as that. Because here's the thing. The system is very different to the academic system, right? And it is much closer, in my opinion, and from not just my opinion, I think in several people's opinions, it's much closer to what the Renaissance guys were doing than the academic system that came later, which in comparison, well, it's, you know, it's a different style of drawing entirely, in my opinion, even though the subject matter is the same. That's about where the similarity ends. Look, to each their own, right? I'm not a big fan of the academic system, as some of you know, but that's probably just because we tend to pick sides. And I also think that just generally the academic system way of drawing would be essentially useless for an animator. This system is very, very much designed for those that need to be able to draw from their imagination. So you really are thinking about volume and how things turn in space, right? So you can, as an animator, you can move form. The academic system is much more about, we'll call it a perceived accuracy of what it is that you're drawing, where one's ability to copy is more prized than in this system. Stanchville's Drawn to Life, it's amazing. Bought it on your recommendation. Wonderful. Yeah, look, if anyone needs to get some tips on how to approach gesture and the likes, Walt really was just an authority on the subject. And very well loved, I think, from what I understand. People, I never met him, obviously, but seems like he was a good dude. And I think that matters. That's funny, about the academic system. Negative space and relative proportions, not so much understanding of shape. Here's the thing though, yeah, look, I get where you're coming from, but I would have to say, I think, you know, negative space and relative proportion, I believe that relative proportion is the way to measure. And using negative space. I just don't want to, as my teacher, as Carl would say, I don't want to just blindly copy what's in front of me. And I think when we start doing all this stuff and whatever with the pencil, start measuring this way, we turn into Xerox machines. And in my opinion, we are talking about craft, and we're starting to pull away from art. And there is a high level of craft in academic drawing, don't get me wrong. Very much so. But I believe, personally, it's closer to craft than it is art. Then again, that maybe is a... what does that even mean? I'll shut up. Hopefully you get my point, however clumsily it's been portrayed. one thing I will say, and I think that what doesn't help does help me form an opinion on this to some degree, is I've seen what some of the artists have spent 4 years in some of these academic institutions are doing after 4 years, and I've been quite shocked at what they haven't been taught after 4 years and the amount of money that they have consequently spent. And I am a huge believer in not duping people, and I don't think it should take 4 years to get some of those ideas across. And the fact that after 4 years you've got people that are still struggling with concepts, I think is shameful, and shame on those institutions that will take people's money and not give them the goods. Most simply can't draw. This is, well, I would argue that I would say you're right, and that's not good enough. It's not good enough. By the way, Newton Artists Academy setting up an online art school for now for $5,000 a year. I've worked in animation for 35 years, and I've never once been asked for an art qualification. That's all I'm going to say about that. There are many things that I think that there should be qualifications for. But I think that I would much rather just see your work. All right, so the question becomes with this drawing, are we going to get into light and tone, or are we going to call it? Because I'm kind of at that point, and I'm just not sure if it needs... I don't like the shadow forms on this drawing or on this image reference, so we would be looking at creating some conceptual light. And do we really want to get into it right now? This is the question. I think I'm going to call this drawing done, because I haven't been very pleased with my tonal passes today. All right, cool. Cool. Yeah, okay, there. All right. Well, I think that's a problem in almost all industries. Academia can't keep up. Well, academia should keep up, Jose. In my opinion, academia should be on the cutting edge of what's happening in an industry, because the academics should be working in the industry and influencing and help lead these cutting edge things, and they should be bringing that to their students. If you're an art, especially if we're talking about you know, places like Art Center or Cal Arts or the likes, if you're teaching in those institutions and you're not working in the industry and on the leading edge of that industry, you've no business to be teaching. To say they can't keep up is a joke, and I would also say that it's all about to get way crazier with AI. I've actually yet to find out how these schools, Art Center, Cal Arts, etc., how are they confronting this subject? Because they need to. These kids are spending an absolute fortune doing 4 years at Art Center and the likes. Is anyone having a frank conversation with them about whether there'll even be a job for them in 4 years? No, they'll happily take their money. And we're not just talking about a little bit of money. And the landscape is changing so fast right now. Look, no one's got a crystal ball, I appreciate that. But the landscape's changing so fast. These schools have an absolute obligation to be keeping up, to be burning the midnight oil, trying to figure out what's happening and how they can better serve their students. Maybe it does, but does Cal Arts or Art Center have an AI department? Have they taught? Is AI in their syllabus now? Absolutely, should be. Shouldn't even be an issue. And for concept art, Chinese teach way better. They study harder and they will be the ones hired by Riot, etc. Well, yes and no. Your name is just so long to keep saying. Beatty. Here's the thing with the Chinese. I agree. Look, there is a massive pool of talent to be had in China, no doubt. Right? No one's going to say otherwise. Incredibly talented young kids working incredibly hard. Here's the reality though. For a US studio, it's far easier to go set up in India or Manila or other places that are not such a walled garden than China. Right, so they might be teaching it way better. I can't speak to that. I know that they teach it well, but here's the thing. Honestly, there's 16-year-old kids in the States, in the UK, in Ireland, in France, in Spain, Italy, you name it. There's young kids doing insane concept art now. The whole it's changed everywhere, right? You want to talk about a pack of absolute creative assassins. You look at the French. I don't know what they put in the drinking water over there, but I have never seen so many incredibly talented young artists as the French. They nurture them, they provide a space for them to create, and they make it financially possible to be an artist over there. They're doing it right. But my point being, as a studio, and I say this as someone who works in animation, and I have a wife that works at ILM, so she knows a thing or two about this. For a start, you've got to be living, like for example, it's so much more complicated than just where is the talent. Like the UK, for example, we've got tons of visual effects studio houses. Why are they all here? Because of the tax credits. What do the tax credits require? They require that you, this company, and your employees live in the UK. Not all of the game companies do this, or the visual effects houses, but it comes with the territory. So yeah, once coming back to your Chinese analogy, China might be full of great concept artists. Unless those studios are prepared to set up shop over there, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Especially when you've got these young French kids that will get visas like that. They'll be over to the UK, working at ILM, etc. No problem at all. And trust me, they're good. All right, let's keep going. Sorry about the rant, but yeah, I was overdue a rant, wasn't I? Really? All right, next pose. We are 20 minutes away from this little shindig being a wrap. I'm going to go with about 12, 13-minute pose on this one, and then we will finish up like with a 7-minute pose on the last one, because I think the last pose can be a bit faster. They're doing it right. Hululu, the French, damn straight, if that's who you're speaking about. Did you see Riot Games closed down? So there you go. 160 layoffs in northern England, actually in Scotland to be precise. So not England, Scotland, UK. Oh, okay. It's all right. I'm just going through my pencils. All right, this looks good. It has some meat on it. So why pay 50 grand? Here's the thing, there are some institutions that are producing great artists, right? And those kids are getting value for money. And it's working, let's say. And in education, you could argue that if you had the wherewithal, you could probably get for a whole lot less money if you know how to pick your sources. Anyway. It's very tricky spending that kind of money on the arts of all things. Nice long rhythmical lines, the theme for today really. And this arm shooting back this way. Sternocleidomastoid. Trapezius. And look at the way the sternocleidomastoid, I talk about this all the time, but it's an extension of that rhythmical line coming through the center of the form. Much more important to find that than the cylinder of the neck. Find that rhythmical line, how the sternocleidomastoid connects to the center line of the form and extends the rhythm of the form. Find that first, then worry about how it all connects. she's really pushing back here. And we've got this kind of effect going on the rib cage. So we want to be mindful of that. From the perspective, like, and the stretch she's got going on here is insane. Do you know any specifics on what the French do that other places aren't? Well, for a start, they've got, is it Gobelins? Gobelins, I think that's what it's called, which is one of the greatest art schools for entertainment art schools in the world. And they have subsidies. They have a lot of creative subsidies in place so that you can afford to be an artist there and not starve. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think there's generally also a culture that celebrates art to some degree or another, and proud of it. You know, like Italy, for example, is terrible at subsidizing and financing their students and their animation studios and helping support them. France, though, is, I think they're much, much better. But yeah, it's a lot less risk to spend it on an engineering diploma than an art diploma. Well, yeah, exactly. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten how to rent. Never. WLOP, I don't know who that is. The famous digital art guy is a software engineer. He just happened to be a genius. He draws while being an engineer. Awesome. The problem is that most of the time there are bureaucratic constraints. Updating an academic program is a nightmare. That's why keeping up is really hard. It happens in every field. That's a very, very good point, Jose. And there is, you're right, the bureaucracy, and change takes time. I would also say, though, it should be built into it should be built into the design of your system that you can adapt fast, right? Given the nature of your industry. I don't think, I agree that is the problem, but I don't think it's an excuse. Not when the kind of money that's involved. If that's the case, then you know what? Slap a huge disclaimer on what it is that you're teaching. Let's start with that. Oh, we've got her toes, her feet. So we got oblique down to the gluteus medius, and then down to the gluteus maximus. All right, I'm going to start here. And we're coming to this point of the aces right there. And then that little passage there is probably the tensor fasciae latae. Aces coming, or iliac crest coming around this way. Yeah. Another news, I tried the General's charcoals and they're way better than others I've tried. Thanks. You should be sponsored by them. I should be sponsored by them. Someone needs to get onto General's. Tell them what's up. I have got General's so much business. It's not even funny. I bet they have no idea how many pencils I've hawked on their behalfs. Well, there's a good healthy 5-6 minutes at the front end of the stream that they could be having their logo on. Could put Generals right down here, just on the screen. In the 3 years and very little input, I got very far in my art, spending a fraction of the time the majority artists spend, but you need a good BS filter. The majority of courses and teaching resources online are very bad. You are so right. Well, look, I rant about this way too often, but I believe the same. I believe that you can absolutely. Here's the thing. It comes back to this whole thing. I flog this concept to death. You can do that if you have the ability to. If you've been taught how to learn, which is different to being taught a subject. Because then you will, with that, even if you don't know a subject, you would develop a BS filter, as you're talking about. You know, there are subjects that I might not know a whole lot about, but I've got a pretty good sense of being able to, and I can do a bit of research fairly quickly and get a sense if the person that is teaching me something is legitimate. Learning how to learn is something that is not taught enough, in my opinion, and it's so important. Now we said about, what did we say for this? About go a couple more minutes, huh? Let's hit this real quick with some core shadow. Although, don't really want to follow the lighting pass on the form. I'm going to change the light. So I'm going to bring the light from this direction, and I'm going to use conceptual light because I just think it'll be easier to light the form that way. Jim says, do you do any focused anatomy studies on stream? Yeah, we've done that a few times, Jim. Yeah, to answer your question, sorry. Yeah, that we absolutely have done that a few times. I will very often talk about anatomical ideas or concepts during the stream. Sometimes I will stop the stream to do just that and do a quick demo on something. Haven't done a ton of just purely standalone anatomical streams. But yeah. And I'd be happy to do more of them if I thought there was an audience for them. All right, there's 16. All right, good enough. Okay. It's hard to get my hands on generals in the Netherlands. They go for 20 bucks. Yeah, I know. It's really hard to get your hand on generals in the Netherlands. You know what you might be able to get though, which, because it's the same in the UK, you might be able to get these primos. Try that. They're made by generals. I would say go with these are 3B and they act like 6 to 8B. They're a little bit more, well, maybe not, given how much you probably pay in the Netherlands. Try these. Give them a go. On smooth newsprint, they are very delicious, very buttery. And as far as generals goes, I don't know, someone told me it didn't work for them, but I think if you spend over a certain amount, Dick Blick in the States will ship for free, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I have ordered from Blick in the past, and usually I order over like $60 worth of stuff, and they have shipped for free before, so something to keep in mind, because you can get all the generals you want. But just be careful, generals have changed their formula. The 6Bs are much, they're not as nice as they used to be. They're scratchier now. Using Conte, the Paris, yeah, I've got those. I find them quite scratchy personally, but if it's working for you, that's good. Have you changed pencils this session? I've been jumping around. Right now I'm jumping around quite a bit, Tina, between the generals and the Primo. They're both generals, obviously. I really need to pick up some like the HB of the Primo because they'll be less dirty. Okay, last pose, guys. We went a bit over there, didn't we? So we're going to go over by a few minutes. Do you like to use sharp lines inside the figure? Yeah, occasionally. Less though. Like I tend to keep them more for the exterior edge. I'm reading. Sorry, I can't respond to everything. There's art streamers being at the top of the list on Twitch. It's just hard to find you. Yeah, well, as I said, I'm not expecting to get anywhere on that. Or who knows how long the stream will continue. You just never know. They will ship for free, but we pay 21% VAT. Oof. Yeah, I can't do the scratchy. Wrecks my head. All right, last pose. We're going to make this a 5, guys. Okay? Let's do it. Excuse me. There's the foot. Yeah, look, if you can get a gig teaching constructive anatomy in person, that's great. You see, I can't, there's so many places I can't teach because I don't have any teaching qualification. Because I didn't go to art school or even finish school for that matter, so I'm a little limited in the places that I can teach. time to read the chat. Yeah. Kind of winging it with the light here, just given how much time there is. And there's our 5. And that's a wrap, guys. Yeah, it's a cool, fun pose to finish with, huh? I'm in a village now. I'm in a village known for its art. So there are many events, low entry art events where you can show off your art for free. That's awesome. Guys, you have, oh, Tabaldak. Thank you for the compliment, much appreciated. Yeah, look guys, that was a bit of fun. Could it have been better? Could always be better. Will we get a chance to do it all again next week? We will. For weekend's almost here. And whatever you choose to do with it, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys next week. I think I talked last week about maybe doing foreshortening this week, and obviously we didn't. I don't know why, I just felt like rhythm today. But maybe foreshortening next week. We should really do some foreshortening practice, guys. And I know, Lulu, I'm fully aware of your comment. You want a pose like this, don't you? And how we deal with that. So yeah, we will. We'll have a look at that. Maybe we'll do it. We'll hit some foreshortening next week. Let's see. In the meantime, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. All right. Cheers. Bye.